Hey guys, it's Adrian. I want to show you one of my favorite combination exercises. It's a combination between a reverse lunge, which is probably one of the best lunges, knee safe, most people can perform it properly. It can be loaded quite heavy as well. It's a lot safer than say a walking lunge or a forward lunge. I just pretty much hate forward lunges, but and then also step ups, which are hands down one of the single best unilateral leg exercises you can perform. Especially trying to even out balances between the left and the right leg in a situation like a squat where I may be pushing off harder with one leg because I have that imbalance. So a couple different things about a step up to reverse lunge. I'll get to the cueing, I'll get to some good words to think about to keep you in track, and then I want to show you a couple of equipment variations, and equipment even including shoes, because when you're doing things like step ups and lunges, you want to be in the absolute flattest shoe you can possibly be in. So for obvious reasons, I'm not going to, put on some clear heels and start stepping up and reverse lunging. You're not going to be in high heels. You're not right in the head if you're also using Nike Shocks, because you pretty much have 4 springs on the back of your heel, which is like lunging or stepping up on an earthquake. So take your Nike Shocks, throw them in the garbage, that's where they belong. Now I want to show you the difference between some shoes, so come down here. Now these are some basic, they're called neutral shoes, which pretty much means that they're flat on the inside. I actually have my orthotics in these ones, which I usually wear. But what I want to show you is if you're looking at the lime green, this is a pretty chunky heel in relation to the thickness of the shoe there. So what that's meant to do, because this is basically a runner, and I'm going to run forward most of the time, is most shoes are meant for forward propulsion. So meaning that that's really the position of a high heel. So the heel is going to be higher and the forefront's going to be a lot less. So what's going to happen is I'm meant to step through my heel and then project that way. Now in something like this, is my favorite shoe. This is the Minimus Road shoe. This thing is dead flat. I think it's got 4 millimeters of rise to it. Now it's meant also to, forward propulsion, but in a sense it's already flat, so you're doing this via the feet. And that's really, really, really important if you have flat arches. That you do things, especially like step ups, reverse lunges, all that stuff you do in as flat a shoe as possible so you can actually work on your proprioception. If you're just standing around, probably a good idea that you have some support if you have flat arches, but when you're working out, try to be in a shoe that's dead flat, okay? Because it's going to help you with your balance. So, I actually prefer a lot of the times to be in sock feet or bare feet, but I have that availability for myself because I work in a gym that allows that, okay? So I'll wear socks as long as they're not slippery, so I wear pretty thin socks. What this does, when I actually go to step up, I can grab and flex my foot into the box for balance. If I'm in that, this is mild, but if I'm in a high-heeled shoe, when I go to step up, I'm already putting more pressure in the forefront of my foot and less in the heel. So I'm more likely to rock and come up through my toe. Now what I always say about step-ups, lunges, anything, is that the toe equals the knees and the heel equals the glute. So especially when doing a step up, I want to be as much pressure into my heel as I possibly can. I don't want to lift the foot, but I need to come up through my heel so I can use my glute to finish through. If I'm coming up, and I see this a lot, people use their toes to come up, so you start feeling pain in the patella tendon. Okay? So for sake of argument, I'm going to slip on my thin shoes. Okay. Now I also want to show you the difference. So that's shoes as far as equipment goes. I want to show you the difference between equipment being a plyo box or being a bench. Okay, so just come over here. Now, most freestanding benches have a pretty narrow base of support that I'm going to be standing on. So again, with that toe thing, most people just put their foot up. They just lazily throw their foot up wherever it goes. A lot of the times that means that the heel is slightly off. So remember what I said about stepping up. What do you think is going to happen when I go to step up like this? I may actually slip or fall back, okay? But I'm definitely going to be using a lot more toe, which is a lot more knee, which is a lot more quad. But I don't want that pressure. I want to use mostly my hip. So I'm going to be in my heel, and I'm going to come up. Now for me to properly use my heel, look how much of my toe has to be off this bench. So what happens if I just all of a sudden He-Man this up here, and I go boom, and I keep going? Well, hopefully if I'm not holding dumbbells or kettlebells, I'm not going to face plant. So the point is if you have to use a bench, and your toes are gonna go off. Toes have a lot to do with balance. So you have to strike a happy medium here where my heel might be slightly off, my toes slightly off. Because if I ever go too far, I need to be able to push through my calf and my toe to stop me from face planting. Just come over here. A better situation than a bench like that is probably to use a bench press station. Now, a bench press station, they generally have a wider base of support. They also have less padding, and I'm going to get back to that in a second. But I can pretty much fit, like I have a size 11 shoe. I can fit a size 11 shoe on the bench press, where that other one I had my toe or my heel. Now this may be lower, they can be 16, 15 inches, something like that. Some of them are higher. But the point is it's safer to have your whole foot on the bench so that I can use my heel to mostly come up, but if I get into trouble, I have my toe available for balance, okay? So I'm gonna step up mostly through my heel, ilarial pressure. I'm not really jumping off this back foot. Okay, so that's a traditional step up. That should be the right way of doing it. So let's come back over here. Now I've seen it done, but it's just dumb. Okay, I'm not going to put a Bosu on top of a bench and attempt to step up on something wobbly. I've seen it done. Okay, I just think it's a bad idea. We're never going to climb something like that. I'm never going to be climbing a mountain during an earthquake, so why would you even bother doing that? The point is that this is quite a bit of thickness to a pad. So I'm essentially doing unstable training by using a bench to step onto. Now it's high density foam, I can agree with that. If that's all available to you, it's still probably better to do the exercise than not do it, but just be mindful that especially if you're wearing a chunked out heel shoe, so a typical runner, okay, that's going to put you in your toe to begin with, then you're going to add the instability of padding and the instability of a width of a bench that doesn't fit my whole foot. You got a whole lot of things that could come into risk. So this is the value of a plyo box. I think an 18-inch plyo box is probably the best for most people, okay? The reason why is because when I put my foot up here, I have coverage. I have heel coverage, I have toe coverage, usually a good size, and my hip joint is about the same size as my, or same height as my knee joint. So it's a pretty good position. It's parallel as a squat, okay? So this is why unilateral training and the same position as the depth of the squat is really going to have a lot of carryover into positions like a squat. So, plyo box, the other thing, this has no give like this did. So I get rid of the unstableness. So for myself, I mean, I don't claim to be super strong or anything, but I can grab 80-pound dumbbells and do step-ups for 6 to 8 a leg on something that is this solid. I feel secure. In something like this, I'm going to have to break it down to 50s. So my ability to load the exercise becomes a lot less because of the instability factors and because of the width. I don't have it there, I don't feel safe, I'm not going to load it that high. So let's get to the combination exercise that I really love, okay? Everybody knows what a reverse lunge is, okay? And I've just told you and taught you how to do a proper step up. So especially for metabolic fat loss reasons, if you have a fat loss client, okay, and you're really trying to get their heart rate up and trying to work their legs and you're trying to get that lactic acid, and it really just costs the body a lot of energy, this is a fantastic exercise. Now I wouldn't start somebody out here, I'd probably put it later in the end of the workout after some of the heavy work, but just come a little bit closer and I want to show you what's going on with my feet. The cueing or patterning of this is everything. I see sometimes people step up, down, reverse lunge, and then I'm like, which foot did I have up there? I'm gonna forget, especially when my legs are burning and I'm feeling stupid. So, here's my fix. I'm gonna leave that foot planted up there for right now. My cue that seems to work really well for everybody is up, down, backward, forward. Up, down, backward, forward. I am now completed one rep, and I'm in the exact same position. I didn't have to think about which foot to put back up on this box. Okay, so let me show a couple reps. Up, down, backward, forward. Up, down, backward, forward. Up, down, backward, forward. Notice I have a full heel. Okay. So, a couple things about this. You'll notice I'm raising my knee, which is a more advanced way of going about it. I find that a lot easier than stepping up here And again, when I'm brain dead and tired, I'm like, oh, well, which foot's going down? I don't remember. So if I go up here and I have to balance that one position, if I'm tall, I actually feel quite balanced here. If I'm like this, I feel wobbly. So up, down. Now, coming down, super important. Don't go up, down, and then hopefully backward and forward. Okay? Stay close to the box on this step up. Just like if I was going to do a normal step up, I'd be here and close to the box, here and close to the box. I wouldn't go up and step way back here and then try to rock my way up here. So why would you do that on this combination exercise? Okay, so again, up, down, close, backward, forward. Up, down, close, backward, forward. Now, as far as loading goes, you can load this. I get some 20-pound kettlebells. I really prefer for lunges, if they're available to you, I prefer kettlebells. I think there's less of a swing. They're a lot easier to hold on to. You don't have the wrist issue of the dumbbell plates being on the front and back, especially when you're going really heavy. So let me show this again, holding kettlebells. The best way as far as momentum goes and not needing to jump off this back leg a lot is, instead of being really upright and having to transfer my body weight or swing these kettlebells to get up, is I'm just going to tilt over, okay, where I have a very flat back and my glutes are loaded. And I'm going to go up, down, backward, which is also a great position for the lunge, where I'm slightly leaning forward for plates. Let me show the other leg. Up, down, backward, forward. Up, down, backward, forward. If you're using those cues, up, down, backward, forward, pretty much guaranteed you're never going to lose your position. Now, I don't alternate legs when I do this. And the reason why is because if you think about what's going on here, my right leg is now the working leg doing the step up. When I come down, my left leg is the working leg on the reverse lunge. I already have a switch of working legs going on in the variation I've just given you. So trying to switch it every single time gets really confusing, and it's not necessary. So again, up, down, backward, forward, up, down, backward, forward. Okay. A few reps, and my heart rate's just cranked right up. I feel the quads big time. I like what's going on between the equalness of hamstring, glute, the quads, a little bit inner thigh, my heart rate, and then of course the core. You've got a lot going on, and I'm always about those big bang for your buck exercises. Any questions? Leave them in the comments. Thanks, guys.